Story number 1. We thought we were lucky to have the whole floor to ourselves. But now I just wish we weren't the only ones up there. It was modern, spacious, and shockingly affordable for the area. The best part? We were told that no one else was living on the 27th floor. We had the whole floor to ourselves. No noisy neighbors, no complaints about music or weekend hangouts. Just peace and privacy, or so we thought. The first week was perfect. Then one night we heard it. Little feet running outside our door, fast, light steps, like a child playing tag. We paused our movie and looked at each other. "Did someone move in next door?" I asked. She shrugged. "We'd hear them moving in, right?" But nobody came or went. No furniture, no knocks. Just laughter. A child's laughter. Every night. Around the same time. Then one night, the laughter stopped. We heard something else, crying, a woman's voice, faint but full of pain, pleading, "No, please, please stop." Then smack, a loud slap. A scream and a child's voice shouting, "Please, stop, you're hurting Mommy!" My girlfriend grabbed my arm. She was shaking. "Call security," she whispered. I did. When the elevator dinged, the hallway fell completely silent. The security guard looked pale when we opened the door for him. He stepped inside. We gave him water, and I asked, "What's happening? Is that family okay? Did someone just move in?" He hesitated, then he said something that chilled us to our core. The security guard's hands shook as he sipped the water we gave him. His voice was hoarse, haunted. "That room. It's been empty for 9 years, he finally said. A woman and her little girl lived there. The husband, he beat them. No one knew how bad it was. Until it was too late." He paused, eyes heavy with something more than fear. "They died in that room. Weeks passed before anyone found them. The husband vanished, fled the country, never arrested, never paid for what he did." My blood ran cold. The guard continued, almost whispering now. "And every year, on the night they died, the screams come back, the crying, the begging, as if they're forced to relive it, again and again, like their souls are trapped in that moment of pain, unable to move on." Tears welled in my eyes. The weight of their suffering pressed into my chest like a stone. Was their torment so deep that even death didn't set them free? Are their souls doomed to suffer, repeating the violence, the screams, the terror forever? My partner grabbed my hand. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. That very night, we packed our things and left. We couldn't stay, not in a place where the past screams louder than the present. Not in a place where the dead are still begging for help, and no one answers. We moved far away, but sometimes when the night is quiet and still, I still hear the echoes, because sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't death. It's pain so deep, it chokes the soul, even in the afterlife. Story number 2. We thought it was just another night cleaning the park, until we heard chains dragging through the fog. And then we saw him, the headless priest, 5 park cleaners, all men, worked the late shift from midnight to 3 a.m. Their job? Clean up the running and cycling trails before the morning joggers show up. The park used to be the site of an old church, long demolished. Some said it burned down. Others whispered it was cursed. That night was colder than usual. A thick fog rolled in, swallowing the trees and paths whole. Around 1:45 a.m., Renzo, one of the crew, walked off to pee behind a tree. He came back pale. "Guys, I heard something. Heavy chains, like someone was dragging metal right behind me." The others laughed. "You scared of squirrels now?" joked Mark. But Renzo wouldn't stop shaking. "I swear, it was coming towards me." 2:55 a.m. Almost done. Then clank. The ground seemed to vibrate as the sound of dragging metal echoed from the trees. Clank, clank. Then they saw it. A figure emerging from the fog, wearing what looked like old priest robes, soaked and torn, chains wrapped around his arms and legs, and no head. They froze. They felt like their stomach were about to drop. Another dropped his broom. Then the figure moved faster. They all turned and ran, sprinting blindly through the fog. But then they stopped. Standing in the center of the path was the same headless priest, perfectly still, just waiting. Chains dragging at his feet, blood stains where the head should have been. No one dared move. Then, slowly, he raised one arm, pointing behind them where the church used to be. They turned, but there was nothing there. When they turned back, he was gone. They say the priest was beheaded for heresy and cursed to roam the grounds where his church once stood. Some spirits haunt for revenge. Others just want to be remembered. Either way, the next time you're alone at 3 a.m. and you hear chains in the fog, don't look back. Story number 3. Not every haunting is seen. Some are heard and felt. I thought I was just stressed from exams, until I heard the crying coming from the empty washroom and realized I wasn't alone. Hi, I'm Ana. I'm from the province of Nueva Ecija, Philippines. Last year I moved to the city to attend college. I was lucky to be accepted into a university dorm. It was cheap, but really old. Peeling walls, creaky floorboards, and heavy wooden doors, with numbers carved into brass plates. I stayed in room 207 with 3 other girls. But that summer, they all went home for break. I didn't. I had summer classes and needed to stay. So for almost 2 months, I was completely alone on our floor. The first week was okay, but then weird things started. I would hear footsteps in the hallway around 2 or 3 a.m. Even though every room nearby was empty, I heard chairs scraping, utensils falling, and once, a door slamming. I kept trying to ignore it, focusing on exams. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. One night, I stayed up late, again. It was around 1:40 a.m. The lights were dim, my desk lamp flickering. I had soft music playing while reviewing notes. Then I heard it. A woman crying, not just crying, screaming in agony. It echoed from the washroom at the end of the hall. Long, painful, almost like begging. I froze. Every hair on my body stood up. I was alone. There was no one else in that building. My vision blurred from fear. I grabbed my phone and ran out of the room, barefoot, shaking. I sprinted to the caretaker's cabin. The old caretaker, Aling Rosa, was still awake. When I told her what happened, she didn't even look surprised. She looked down and said quietly, "Room 207. It's her again." Then she told me the story. A long time ago, a girl from the province stayed in that same room. She got pregnant and tried to hide it. Alone during break. She tried to abort the baby herself. She didn't survive. People say she died crying for help, but no one was around. Now, every summer, when the building is quiet, she cries again. That night, I didn't go back to my room. I slept in a chair near the caretaker's shrine of saints and candles, wide awake till morning. Some ghosts don't want to scare us. They just want to be heard. They replay the pain they felt because no one was there for them when they needed someone most. And now they make sure no one ever forgets. Story number 4. We went camping to escape the stress of life. But something followed us from the woods, and it didn't want us to leave. My name is Ray. My friends and I, Liam, Ken, Anna, and Joy, planned a weekend escape. We found this quiet spot near a river deep in the woods. It was perfect. We set up our tents, made a fire, and just enjoyed the peaceful sound of the flowing river. That was until Liam, who had been feeling a little funny, said he needed to go far off into the woods to, well, handle his business. Liam was gone for about 20 minutes before running back, completely out of breath, saying he found something. An altar or some kind of ritual shrine made of sticks, feathers, burned candles, and bones. We didn't believe him until he took us there. It was real. A perfect circle of rocks, strange symbols carved into the trees. We wanted to leave, but it was already too dark. So we agreed. Sunrise, we're gone. To feel safe, Ken tied wires around the tent perimeter and attached little bells. If any wild animals got too close, we'd know. But that night, the bells rang. Twice. 2 different directions. Something was out there, or some things. Ken, the boldest of us, stepped outside with a flashlight and yelled, "Whoever's out there, we're leaving at sunrise. We don't mean any harm." Silence. Then, a whispering chant from deep in the woods. Female, rhythmic, almost ritualistic. We spun around trying to find the source. Then, suddenly, a massive fire lit up from the same area Liam had found the shrine. And then, a blood-curdling scream, like someone burning alive. We froze. Anna dropped to her knees, crying. None of us could move. None of us knew what to do. We didn't even grab our things. We just ran, sprinting down the forest trail, checking on each other, hearts pounding like drums in the night. We finally reached the clearing where our car was parked. Still there. We jumped in, slammed the doors, and drove as fast as we could through the dark, winding roads, until we reached the nearest community, a quiet town about 20 kilometers away. We stayed there until morning, still shaken, barely speaking. When we returned with local authorities, everything was still in place. Our tents, backpacks, even the food we left behind. Nothing was stolen. But the shrine, there were 5 voodoo dolls, freshly burned, each one pierced with rusty nails, each one with a photo of us half burned, just enough to see our faces twisted in horror. We weren't just visitors, we were part of something dark and prepared. We never camped again, and I still ask myself, what if Liam never found that shrine? What if we waited until sunrise? Or worst of all, what if we never left? Story number 5. I thought I was alone in that beach house, but something kept whispering, "Don't trust them." And I'm glad I listened. Her name was Alyssa. After a devastating breakup, she needed a break from the city. Something quiet, peaceful, far from everything. She found a cozy Airbnb near a remote beach. It looked perfect. 2 men greeted her at check-in, Ben and Dale, the hosts. They seemed friendly, smiled a lot, maybe too much. The house was beautiful, but there was a heavy feeling in the air, like the walls were holding their breath. Footsteps outside. Then laughter, male voices whispering her name. The next morning, the lock on the back door was broken. Ben and Dale showed up again. Unannounced. "Just checking the heater," Ben said. But Alyssa never reported any issues. That's when it started. The crying. Every night, she heard a woman sobbing from inside the walls. And in the mirror behind her, a pale, soaking wet woman staring at her with wide eyes. But she didn't feel fear, she felt protected. That night, Ben knocked at the door. "We brought wine," he said. Dale stood beside him, grinning with empty eyes. Alyssa backed away. That's when the lights flickered, the mirror shattered, the crying turned into a scream, not hers. The ghostly woman appeared in full form, soaked, shivering, eyes locked onto Alyssa. She whispered, "Run." Ben suddenly screamed. A cabinet door slammed open on its own, smashing his hand. Dale tripped backwards as all the windows burst open at once. Alyssa grabbed her keys and ran. Alyssa escaped that night. The police later told her there were missing person reports connected to that Airbnb. Ben and Dale were arrested after being caught trying to flee town. The house burned down a week later during an unexplained electrical fire. But Alyssa remembers the ghost, not with fear but with gratitude. "Not every ghost is here to haunt us," she says. "Sometimes they're trying to protect us. Because sometimes the real monsters are human." And those were 5 true, terrifying horror stories that prove sometimes the scariest things aren't monsters, but reality itself. From haunted dormitories to cursed shrines, from ghostly cries in quiet apartments, to spirits trying to warn us before it's too late. These aren't just tales to spook you. They're reminders that the past never stays buried. And sometimes the dead still have something to say. But tell me, which story haunted you the most? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. If you made it this far, you're braver than most. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a nightmarish upload. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, not all ghosts want to hurt you. Sometimes it's the living you should fear. Good night if you can sleep.